Welcome back to Game Devs Play Games, where you can watch games and practice game design. And we are back with Doki Doki Literature Club. And
we're ready to bask in the warm body heat.
Yeah, we're basking in some warm body heat with Yuri here. So here we go. I suppose so.
Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. It
just like the characters in my book.
Our limbs will be united.
They will be one.
It feels like my left arm is in the way, so I instead use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess it makes this kind of difficult to turn the page.
Here.
Oh, this is such a great setup for like some spooky faces. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do the same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way, when I turn a page, Yuri slides it under her thumb after it flips to her side. But holding it like this, we're huddled even closer together than before. It's actually kind of distracting me. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision.
Are you ready?
This is so great because it's like, first time you're going through this, it's like, ooh.
And now it's like,
getting all cozy. It's like, no, I don't want to get closer. I don't want to get closer because you're the thing that's going to get freaky. Eh?
To turn the page.
Sorry. I think I get a little bit distracted for a second. I glance over at Yuri's face again and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her.
That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me.
Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page before me, so I turn it on my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey Yuri, this might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit.
No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not.
Really? I was just thinking the way she second guesses things and second guesses the things she says and all that.
I'll kill you. That's what you were talking about. Sorry. I thought you meant something else about her.
Something else?
Never mind. We didn't even get that far yet. So I don't know why that came into my head.
Yuri, you feeling all right? Yuri's been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing is a little...
My breathing?
Yuri puts her hand on her chest as if to feel her heartbeat.
I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water.
All right, don't push yourself. She definitely seems more stressed out than she was before. Like, she's actually worried she'll be deleted.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yuri stands up and practically rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about?
Quizzes? Did something happen just now?
Eh? I have no idea. Yuri was acting a little strange, I guess.
So you don't know anything?
Sorry, I can't say that I do. Are you worried about her?
Oh, no, not really. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her.
No, nothing.
Don't worry, I believe you, silly. Yuri just does this sometimes, so it's nothing alarming.
All right, if you say so.
Anyway, why don't we start with sharing our poems with each other?
Eh? Shouldn't we wait for Yuri?
Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we get started without her.
Is you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book and then slip it back into my bag.
I would never be good at making a mental note of where I was.
Well,
so let's just start with poem time.
Natsuki. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair that I shared mine with her first.
Sure, why not? Whatever.
Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you.
What a jerk.
That's a little blunt. Well, excuse me.
You're basic.
You basic.
You're basic.
You're simple.
You simple.
It's not like I said it was bad. It didn't evoke any emotions. So basically, it's not cute enough for your tastes. Do you want to get smacked? I'll pass.
Because I got a gun for that.
Well, anyway, I guess I need to show you mine. Not that you'll like it. Eagles can fly, monkeys can climb, crickets can leap, horses can race, owls can seek, cheetahs can run, eagles can fly, people can try, but that's about it.
Same poem as before. Her poem has not changed.
Yeah. I told you you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest.
I hated it.
I am. Why are you so convinced I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff, so people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly! It's like when I like it when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem, seeing everyone around you do great things can really be disheartening, so I decided to write about it. Yeah, I understand. But the other nice thing about simple writing is it puts more weight on the wordplay. I like how it's set up for the rhyme at the beginning, but then make it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line. So you did. I guess more went into it than I realized. That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did ya? Yeah, I guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I don't really care how old everyone is, but if Natsuki is feeling proud, then I won't take that away from her.
How nice of you.
Can we just
do it.
Skip
Just
Monica?
do it.
Actually, it's interesting that we could skip
Yeah, I
you.
know, right? Just be like, up.
Do you like
Hi,
my poem?
Crizzes.
Oh.
Having a good time so far?
Yeah.
Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we can do better, I'm always listening.
I mean, I really think
Don't
we could
be
use
afraid to
another
bring
member.
up things, okay? All right.
all
I'll
right.
keep that in mind. Oh, whoops.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'll be a little
This is
afraid to
my
bring
game
things up.
now.
I'm much better off just going with the flow until I get more settled in.
Anyway, want to share your poem with me?
It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to.
Don't worry, Crizzes. We're all a little embarrassed today and now, except for me. But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon.
Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem.
Great job, Crizzes. I was going, oh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you.
Yeah, it's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort.
Ha, you silly goose. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know what? Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing's that's full of imagery and symbolism. Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality. I don't mean that like it's a bad thing though, but sometimes I get the impression that she's just totally given up on people. She spends so much time in her own head that it's probably a much more interesting place for her. But that's why she gets so happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's used to being indulged like that. She must be really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly. Like earlier. I think if she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for alone time.
Suddenly, the door opens.
Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. Well, we all started sharing our poems with each other. Already? I'm sorry for being late. No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm more glad that you took all the time you needed. All right. Thanks, Monica. I suppose I should go get my poem now. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now?
No.
Don't worry, I'm not very good.
No. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound more confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know?
And because I am the game. I see. Well, let's read it then.
Hole in the wall, but he wasn't looking at me. Confused, I frantically glanced at my surroundings, but my burned eyes can no longer see color. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Or are they simply poems on flat sheets of paper? The sound of frantic scrawling playing tricks on my ear? The room begins to crinkle, closing in on me. The air I breathe dissipates before it reaches my lungs. I panic. There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. Swallowing my fears, I brandish my pen. That's a new poem.
That definitely is a new poem.
So, what do you think?
It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. I'm sorry, I'm not the right person to ask for feedback.
It's okay. Yeah, that kind of style has gotten pretty popular nowadays. There's a lot of poems who have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful.
What was the inspiration behind this
Your
one?
death.
Ooh.
Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit.
An epiphany?
Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone's better friends with each other? Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on the paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow.
Okay.
That's my advice for the day. Thanks for listening.
I wonder, is that a clue on how to do something? All right,
what?
I know what I'm going to do for the next poem.
All right, we'll find out.
All right. Now to Yuri. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten.
Exceptional.
Eh? What was that?
Did I say that out loud?
Yuri first covers her mouth, but ends up covering her whole face.
He's going to hate me.
You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri.
I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for?
Yuri takes a breath.
So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before.
Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really.
Huh?
Yuri stares at me blankly and at my poem again.
Well, I know that. I just meant,
Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words in the poem as if breaking it down more thoroughly.
Yeah. Okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers, and having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and expressiveness are weakened.
Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone and she sounds like an expert.
Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it'll all come with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the clubs gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little biased, though.
Biased? How?
She hates everything.
Oh.
Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry.
That's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now?
Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it.
Yuri smiles dreamily as if that's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghosts? Oh, this is...
Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one. The last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last yet to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe. Calm. Breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers, I flicker back. Same poem as before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting.
What? I wasn't thinking that at all.
But it took you a long time to read.
Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty.
Huh? That's a relief.
Also, I liked the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short? I usually write longer poems.
No, not at all.
I'm really glad you liked it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose.
Are you into ghosts, Yuri?
Oh, actually, the story isn't about a ghost at all, Crizzes.
Really? I must have totally missed the point.
Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost. Lingering in her past, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing.
That's a lot more solemn putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive.
It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so...
Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you.
You think so?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Crizzes.
Me too.
We're at time.
Okay, well, that's a good point to call it. Nothing really spooky happened in that episode.
Yeah, I know. It was a pretty mundane episode.
And just to put it out there, there is definitely, and I can even show you, there is an option in the settings to allow us to skip to unseen text.
Yeah.
Or, skip directly to choices. The significant reason for us not doing that is that I think there's a very intentional reason why there's a lot of repeated dialogue and a lot of non-spooky sections, kind of like what we just went through in this episode.
Yeah.
And so, question of the day is, what do you think is the point or the benefit of these stretches of normality between the spooky scaries?
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of Doki Doki Literature Club.
Bye.
See you guys later.